With Godzilla vs Kong out recently, I thought there'd be no better time than to rank all the Godzilla and Kong games on PlayStation. There's 4 games, 3 on the PlayStation 2 and 1 on the PS4 and PS3. Who has the better games? Godzilla or Kong? Let the battle commence. In last place is Godzilla Unleashed on the PS2, which I gave a D for dull. This was one of the last games I had played for the PS2, with it releasing in 2008. And it was also the final game in the Pipeworks trilogy of Godzilla fighting games. For the most part, Godzilla Unleashed is just a copy of its predecessor, Save the Earth. It has the same gameplay engine, similar plot of aliens invading Earth and taking control of the monsters, and almost identical roster of fighters, besides 2 new additions. Completely new monster Obsidius, who looks like the most generic lava rock monster imaginable, and Batra, except both of these new additions are mere palette swaps of other fighters. The biggest sin of Unleashed on the PS2 is that the rather fun gameplay from Save the Earth was tarnished by a dreadful camera system which switches between third person and side view without your command. The graphics are less appealing and the frame rate is worse than in Save the Earth, which came out 4 years prior to Unleashed. Unleashed also suffers from a complete lack of replay value and variety, containing the bare minimum: versus match, and arcade style single player in which you fight through a series of monsters until you face the final boss, and that's everything that this game has going for it. Honestly, if you played Save the Earth before this one, you had already seen everything Unleashed could possibly offer you, making this a quick cash grab. Godzilla Unleashed for the PS2 was a sloppy, rushed fighter. It needed more new characters that weren't palette swaps, it needed more variety in its mission objectives and modes, and it needed better presentation as it looks so bland, as if the developers got tired of working on it. That's not to say, however, that Unleashed has some great music during battles and is fun for a short while, but with Save the Earth on the same system, there's 0 reasons to play Unleashed on the PS2. Winner. In at third place is the latest game on this list, Godzilla for the PS4 and PS3. This was published by Bandai Namco and released in 2015 to really bad critical reception. Now I can see where many critics were coming from, but deep down I don't think this is a terrible experience, as many have said, because if you're a big Godzilla or Kaiju fan like I am, there is at least some bit of fun and charm to squeeze from this game. Godzilla has a couple modes to try out, even a fairly fun little diorama mode in which you can recreate scenes from the Godzilla movies. The models of all the kaiju I felt looked awesome for the time, all well animated and looked like they'd been ripped straight from the movie sets. I wasn't too impressed by some of the environments, but they got the designs of the monsters down really well. Godzilla also had a large cast of 22 kaiju to battle as. However, it's not the deepest roster, with a lot of various forms of Godzillas and Mechagodzillas taking many of the spots on the roster. But while Godzilla has these few redemptions, it can't be dismissed that this is one of the most sluggish and slow brawlers out there. The mission mode is full of repetitive missions, destroying generators or battling in small arenas in the middle of an ocean. And while many may find the slow controlling kaiju authentic, it really doesn't lend well to fighting in online battles or slowly crawling to the next generator you've got to destroy. However, I did enjoy playing Godzilla 2015 more than Unleashed. In this game I really felt like I was playing an old Godzilla flick, feeling the buildings fall beneath my feet, the fear of the cities as I arise out of the ocean. The camera system worked better than Unleashed. But overall, Godzilla 2015 was a disappointing game. Lacking in almost all areas, it needed a bigger budget, better controls, more modes, and less mind-numbing and repetitive objectives. Then, it could have been top spot on this list. Our runner-up is Godzilla Save the Earth, the first Godzilla game on PlayStation, and in my opinion hasn't been topped since. Godzilla Save the Earth was Pipeworks' second game and thus the predecessor to Unleashed, but it's embarrassing how much better this one is to play. Releasing in 2004, Save the Earth follows an alien race known as the Vortak, who have come to Earth and mind-controlled all the monsters other than the one you choose to play as through the campaign. You'll fight through the roster of monsters, every other mission being a little mini-game to add some variety into the mix, and then the campaign culminates to a battle against Space Godzilla. Save the Earth had a brilliant roster of Godzilla characters, ranging from Mothra, King Ghidorah, Rodan, Mechagodzilla 2 and 3, Baragon, Dystoria, Jet Jaguar, Mogira, Megaguirus, and many more. Each monster had certain resistances and weaknesses detailed in the character select menu, and Save the Earth introduced beam battles into the series which looked epic for the time. However, Save the Earth still isn't the most balanced or best fighting game out there. Its controls and lock-on system are still a little finicky, and playing with 4 players slows the game down to a halt on PS2. Save the Earth does add in a challenge mode, which is full of mini-games, and while some are fun, the majority you'll play the once and move on. But still, Godzilla Save the Earth is a really fun time, because the production value shows that the devs had real passion behind this game, and each of the monsters truly felt good to play, each with their own standout traits, attacks and animations, and there's not much that hinders the gameplay like the previous Godzilla games on this list.
Come into possession of a map. An uncharted island. A place that was thought to exist only in myth.
But at number 1, at my rating of a B for Bravo, is King Kong on the PS2. This was one of the most atmospheric, detailed, and just well put together licensed movie games of its time. You play as a human character from a first-person shooter perspective called Jack Driscoll, and occasionally play as the Great King Kong in these third-person beat-em-up platform stages. As Jack Driscoll, King Kong really batters you with everything that Skull Island has to offer. You've got unwelcoming natives, you've got extreme weather, you've got large creepy crawlers, dinosaurs, and a giant titan lumbering around the jungle. You've got to survive in this environment, using spears and broken bones of dead carcasses to skewer bugs to distract bigger predators. You've got access to weapons, but can only carry one gun at a time, and ammunition is in short supply, so you can't just run and gun through the jungle like you're Dutch from Predator. This game really felt more like a survival game than like a Call of Duty FPS. For 2005, King Kong was certainly one of the best looking games I had played at the time. The light seeping through the treetops, or the sheer detail put into every single level. This island had an intense history and felt weathered by storms. It also goes for a cinematic approach with its absent heads-up display. Instead, your health is displayed by a red blurry filter that appears when you take a hit. And for how much ammo you have left, you can press the circle button for Jack to feed back to you how many magazines or bullets you have remaining. Find it giving too little feedback, then that's fine, as you can switch the HUD back on in the options menu. Playing as Kong is a little more clunkier, mainly due to the camera system, however it doesn't lose that feeling of empowerment, and has still thrilling sections that aren't too short as to wonder why they even bothered, and aren't too long so that the controls hinder the experience. They're well placed in between the tense FPS sections. King Kong is still a short experience, and on PS2 it can see some frame rate stutters. I highly recommend playing it on Xbox 360 or PC instead. However, this is definitely the most immersive game on this list. It captures both sides to its gameplay perfectly: the everyman Jack Driscoll and the powerful beast Kong. It actually makes me wonder what a Godzilla game would be like if it had the same production value, immersion and FPS mixed with third-person Godzilla gameplay. Now that would be the greatest of them all, but until that day comes, I'll catch you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching, take care.